Have you ever stopped to think what life is really like after 80? Not just the birthdays or the quiet afternoons, but the small changes no one talks about. The way people look at you differently, how your body feels each morning, or that strange silence when the phone doesn't ring for days. It's a chapter few prepare us for, yet it can be one of the richest and most meaningful parts of our journey. In today's video, we'll gently uncover the hidden truths of life after 80, and more importantly, how to face them with strength, purpose, and a renewed sense of joy. Let's dive in together. When you hit your 80s, something subtle but powerful starts to happen. Your social world shifts. It's not necessarily sudden or dramatic, but it's there. Friends you used to grab lunch with may have moved out of state. Your children and grandkids might be juggling busy lives of their own. And those casual chats with neighbors or coworkers that once filled your days, they don't come around quite as often anymore. It's a quiet kind of change that can sneak up on you, leaving you wondering why your days feel a little emptier than they used to. Take Mr. Harold Bennett from Springfield, Missouri, for example. Harold is 82 now. He spent most of his life as a high school music teacher, always surrounded by students, parents, and fellow staff. But after retirement, and especially after his wife passed, the house started to feel too quiet. His friends from the choir had either moved to warmer states or slowed down with health concerns. Even his own daughter, though loving, was wrapped up in raising 3 young kids and working full-time. Harold admitted there were days he didn't speak to a single person. But instead of settling into the silence, Harold made a small but powerful decision. He joined the local community center's weekly book club. At first, he felt out of place, but slowly, week after week, names turned into faces, and faces turned into friends. He even discovered a fellow Louis L'Amour fan named Earl, who now picks him up every Tuesday for club meetings and coffee afterward. That's the thing. Our social circles might shift, but that doesn't mean we're meant to be alone. You still have so much to offer: your stories, your wisdom, your warmth. So what can you do if you're starting to feel the same way Harold did? First, try joining a local group that interests you, whether it's a church fellowship, a gardening club, or even bingo night at the senior center. Being around others with shared interests can lift your spirit. Second, don't be afraid of technology. Learning to use video calls or even simple texting can open up new ways to stay in touch with loved ones, even if they're states away. And finally, schedule connection like you would any important appointment. A regular Friday morning coffee call with a friend or Sunday dinner with family can become something you both look forward to. Connection doesn't have to fade. It just takes a little nurturing. By the time we reach our 80s, many of us have learned how to push through the little aches and pains. After all, we grew up in a time when people didn't run to the doctor for every sniffle or sore muscle. But here's the thing. While that strong, no-nonsense attitude served us well in younger years, ignoring small health issues now can lead to much bigger problems. Our bodies just don't bounce back the way they used to, and that's okay. What matters is catching things early and not brushing off signs that something might be wrong. Let me tell you about Mrs. Lorraine Land Parker, an 85-year-old from Asheville, North Carolina. She's always been a passionate gardener. Rain or shine, you could find her in the backyard tending to her tomatoes and hydrangeas. One day she noticed a little sore on her foot after spending the afternoon pulling weeds. She figured it was just a scratch and kept going about her routine. Weeks passed, but the sore didn't heal. In fact, it got worse. Eventually, her daughter insisted she see a doctor, and it turned out to be an early-stage infection that required treatment. Thankfully, she recovered, but she admits now that ignoring it could have led to serious trouble. Land's story is a gentle reminder that we need to pay closer attention to the signals our bodies give us. That doesn't mean living in fear. It means living smart. So what can you do to take better care of yourself? Start with regular health checkups. Whether it's your family doctor, the eye clinic, or the dentist, don't skip those visits. They help catch problems early when they're usually easier to treat. Next, try to stay active. even if it's just a daily walk around the block or a few minutes of stretching in the morning. Some seniors enjoy Tai Chi or chair yoga, gentle movements that keep the joints working and help with balance. And don't forget about what you eat. You don't have to become a health nut, but adding more fruits, vegetables, and whole grains to your meals can make a big difference. Think colorful salads, oatmeal in the morning, or a nice piece of grilled fish with a side of steamed veggies. Remember, taking care of yourself doesn't mean giving up independence. It means protecting it. Staying on top of the small things now can help you enjoy more of the things you love tomorrow. There's a quiet truth many seniors have felt, but rarely say out loud. Sometimes it feels like we become invisible. You might be sitting at the dinner table while conversations fly over your head, or worse, around you, as if you weren't even there. Decisions about family, money, or even your own well-being might get made without your input. It's frustrating and it's hurtful. But here's the important part. It doesn't have to be that way. You still have a voice, and what you have to say matters now more than ever. Let's talk about Mr. Carl Turner from Des Moines, Iowa. Carl is a 78-year-old retired civil engineer who spent decades managing city infrastructure projects. He has a sharp mind and a quiet way of observing things before speaking up. But lately, during family get-togethers, he noticed his kids and grandkids brushing off his thoughts as outdated. One day, when his grandson mentioned wanting to study architecture, Carl saw a chance. He pulled out his old project maps, told stories about building bridges during budget crises, and even gave a little impromptu lesson on city planning. To his surprise, the entire family gathered around, genuinely interested. That moment sparked a change. Now Carl regularly shares stories at Sunday dinners, and his family actively asks for his thoughts on things they once assumed he had no interest in. You see, just because a society sometimes sidelines older folks doesn't mean you have to stay on the sidelines. You've lived through wars, economic shifts, technological revolutions, and your perspective is unique and deeply valuable. So how can you make sure your voice is heard? Start with something simple. Share your stories. You don't have to write a book. Maybe it's a journal or short voice memos on your phone. Tell your kids and grandkids what it was like growing up in your era, how you faced hard times, or the proudest moment of your life. These stories are your legacy, and you'd be amazed at how much younger people love hearing them when they get the chance. Next, speak up in your community. Whether it's joining a senior advisory council, helping out at a local school, or attending town hall meetings, your ideas and opinions carry weight. And finally, be a mentor. If you have knowledge, whether it's fixing engines, raising a family, or managing money, pass it on. There's always someone younger looking for guidance, even if they don't know how to ask. Your voice isn't fading. Sometimes it just needs a little more room to shine. Let's be honest. Sometimes it feels like the world is moving a mile a minute. One day your phone had a cord and sat on the wall, and the next folks are paying bills and watching movies on a tiny screen they carry in their pocket. It's no wonder so many seniors feel overwhelmed. But here's the good news. You don't have to know everything at once. Adapting to a changing world doesn't mean becoming a tech wizard. It just means staying open to learning something new, one step at a time. Take the story of Mrs. Huang Tran from Stockton, California. She's 81 and used to believe smartphones were only for teenagers. Her daughter gave her one for Christmas a few years ago, and it sat in the box for months. I just didn't want to feel dumb, she later admitted. But then her youngest grandson moved out of state, and she started missing his cheerful little face. That was her turning point. With some encouragement, she signed up for a free Tech Basics for Seniors class at the local library. She learned how to make video calls, send text messages, and even use YouTube to watch her favorite Vietnamese cooking videos. Now she chats with her grandkids every week and even sends them silly dog videos. It's become a joyful part of her routine. Stories like Mrs. Huang's show us that it's never too late to learn. Embracing new tools doesn't take away from your past. It adds to your present. So how can you start adapting to this fast-changing world? Lifelong learning is key. Many senior centers, libraries, and community colleges offer workshops on everything from smartphone use to painting to basic computer skills. Not only do you learn something useful, but you also meet others who are just as curious. Embrace technology in small ways. Maybe start with something simple like a voice assistant that tells you the weather or sets a reminder for your pills. There are apps made just for seniors, larger buttons, easy to read text, and even medication trackers. And most importantly, stay informed. Whether it's reading the local paper, watching the evening news, or listening to a trusted radio station, being aware of what's happening helps you feel more connected to the world. The bottom line? Change isn't something to fear. It's an opportunity to grow, connect, and rediscover what makes life exciting at any age. Let's talk about something a lot of folks find tough to accept. Our bodies change as we get older. The joints get a little stiffer, the energy doesn't quite last as long, and maybe getting up from the couch feels more like a workout than it used to. But here's the important thing. It's not about what you can't do anymore. It's about discovering what you still can and doing it with joy, patience, and purpose. Take Mr. Jack Morris from Asheville, North Carolina. Jack is 76 now, a retired mail carrier who spent decades walking miles every day. But recently, he noticed his legs weren't as strong, and he'd get winded just climbing a short flight of stairs. At first, it frustrated him. I used to carry a sack of mail up and down hills. Now I can't even carry groceries without huffing, he said. But instead of giving up, Jack made a simple change. He started going for short walks around the neighborhood each morning. Just 10 minutes to start. A month later, it was 20. After 6 months, not only was he walking farther, but his mood had lifted too. I feel more like myself again, he said with a grin. That's the thing. Embracing change doesn't mean giving in. It means working with your body, not against it. So how can you begin to focus on your well-being today? Set realistic goals. If you used to run 5 miles, but now a walk around the block feels like a marathon, that's okay. Celebrate that walk. Small steps lead to big results. Maybe it's stretching while watching TV or doing a few leg lifts during a commercial break. Every little bit counts. Ask for help when you need it. Talk to your doctor, physical therapist, or a fitness trainer who works with seniors. You don't need a fancy gym membership, just the right guidance to move safely and confidently. Try mind-body activities. Lots of folks swear by chair yoga, gentle tai chi, or even guided breathing exercises. These activities can improve your balance, flexibility, and even your peace of mind. And guess what? You don't need to touch your toes or stand on one leg. Just showing up and trying is enough. Aging might change the pace, but it doesn't have to take away the joy of moving. The more we honor our bodies, just as they are, the more we discover what's still possible. The stories we've shared, from Mrs. Huang learning to use a smartphone to Jack rediscovering his strength through daily walks, remind us that aging doesn't mean giving up who we are. It's about adjusting to life's changes with grace, curiosity, and courage. Whether it's nurturing friendships, embracing new technologies, or finding fresh ways to care for your body, every step you take toward adapting helps you feel more connected, capable, and fulfilled. You don't have to do it all at once. Start small. Call a friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Sign up for a community class. Take a 10-minute walk in the morning sunshine. These little choices, done consistently, can completely shift how you experience this stage of life. And remember, you're not alone in this journey. We're walking it with you every step of the way. If this message spoke to you, share it with someone you care about. Leave a comment below with your thoughts or your own story. We'd love to hear it. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a moment of encouragement, and wisdom here on Wisdom Guide Daily. Your best years aren't behind you. They're unfolding now.